What if the biggest thing holding you back is not your situation, but you? Not your lack of money. Not your lack of time. Not other people. Not bad luck. You. Many people spend years blaming everything outside of themselves while ignoring the real problem within. The fear that stops them from starting. The excuses that delay action. The habits that waste their potential. The doubts that grow stronger every time they are believed. These invisible limits become walls that keep people trapped in the same life. The hardest truth to accept is that your greatest obstacle may be the version of you that refuses to change. But this truth is also powerful, because if you are the problem, you can also become the solution. You can break the limits. You can replace fear with courage, excuses with discipline, and doubt with action. You can become stronger than the mindset that once controlled you. In this video, you will learn how to destroy self-made limits, break mental barriers, and become the version of yourself that can win. If you are ready to level up, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin. Part 1: The story you keep telling yourself. Many limits begin with a story you repeat inside your mind. It is the way you explain who you are, what you can do, and what is possible for your future. These stories are often created from past experiences, failures, fear, rejection, or the opinions of other people. Over time, they can feel like truth simply because you have heard them so many times. But a repeated thought is not always a fact. You may tell yourself things like, "I am not smart enough, I always fail, it is too late for me," or, "People like me never succeed." These thoughts can become dangerous because they influence your behavior. If you believe you are not capable, you may stop trying. If you believe success is not for you, you may avoid opportunities. If you believe it is too late, you may never begin. The story in your mind can quietly control the direction of your life. The story you tell yourself shapes what you attempt and what you avoid. If your story is small, your actions become small. You play safe, stay comfortable, and lower your own standards. You expect little from yourself, so you do little. But if your story is strong, your actions become stronger. You take more chances, learn new skills, recover from failure faster, and keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. This is why mindset matters so much. People often think confidence comes first, but many times action creates confidence. And action begins with the story you believe about yourself. If your inner story says growth is possible, you are more likely to act. If your inner story says you are trapped, you remain stuck even when opportunities exist. Change begins when you question the story in your mind. Ask yourself where it came from. Did you create it after one failure? Did someone else give it to you? Is it based on facts, or only fear? Is it helping you grow, or keeping you small? These questions create awareness, and awareness gives you the power to choose a better story. Replacing the old story does not mean lying to yourself or pretending life is easy. It means choosing beliefs that help you move forward. Instead of saying, "I always fail," say, "I can learn and improve." Instead of saying, "It is too late," say, "I can start where I am." Instead of saying, "I am not enough," say, "I can become more through effort and discipline." The story in your mind can either be a prison or a path forward. When you stop repeating beliefs that keep you weak and begin building beliefs that make you stronger, your life starts to change from the inside out. Part 2: Fear of failure is a hidden prison. Many people do not fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they never started. This is one of the most common ways people hold themselves back. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect level of confidence before taking action. They tell themselves they will begin later, when they feel more ready or when life becomes easier. But later often becomes never. The dream is not destroyed by failure. It is destroyed by delay. Fear of failure keeps people waiting, delaying, and staying comfortable. It creates many excuses that sound reasonable. What if I am not good enough? What if people judge me? What if I try and it does not work? These thoughts can feel protective, but they often become a prison. They stop progress before it even begins. Instead of facing a real challenge, people stay trapped in imagined problems inside their mind. The truth is that failure is not the opposite of growth. It is part of growth. Every skill requires mistakes. No one becomes confident, successful, or talented without learning through errors. Every beginner struggles. Every expert was once inexperienced. Every success story includes moments of rejection, setbacks, and lessons learned the hard way. Failure is often the teacher that success cannot be. When you fail, you gain information. You learn what does not work. You discover weaknesses that can be improved. You build resilience by recovering and trying again. Failure can be painful, but it can also make you wiser, stronger, and more prepared for the next attempt. Many people who eventually succeed do so because they refuse to quit after early failures. The real danger is not failing once. The real danger is allowing fear to stop you from trying at all. A failed attempt can teach you something valuable. No attempt teaches you nothing and keeps your life exactly the same. Regret often hurts more than failure because it comes from knowing you never gave yourself a chance. When you stop fearing failure, you stop fearing progress. You understand that mistakes are part of the process, not proof that you should quit. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow instead of threats to avoid. This mindset changes everything. You take more chances, learn faster, and become stronger through experience. You do not need a guarantee before you begin. You do not need certainty before taking the first step. You only need the courage to start, the humility to learn, and the discipline to continue. Failure may happen, but growth can happen because of it. Part 3. Excuses feel safe but keep you stuck. Excuses often sound logical, which is why they are so dangerous. They do not always appear as weakness or laziness. Many times, they feel intelligent, reasonable, and even responsible. That is what makes them powerful. They can hide inside thoughts that seem normal, while quietly stopping progress in the background. Instead of pushing you forward, they make delay feel acceptable and comfort feel justified. The reason excuses feel safe is because they protect you from discomfort. Growth usually requires effort, uncertainty, patience, and discipline. It may require you to face fear, accept mistakes, or work without immediate results. Excuses offer a temporary escape from that pressure. They allow you to avoid the hard moment now, even if it creates a harder future later. In the short term, they can feel like relief. In the long term, they become a burden. Excuses protect comfort in the present, but they often create frustration in the future. Every time action is delayed, progress is delayed with it. Every time you choose avoidance, you strengthen the habit of avoidance. Over time, this can become a pattern that affects confidence, discipline, and self-respect. The longer excuses are repeated, the more normal they begin to feel. What starts as a small delay can slowly become a lifestyle of hesitation. One of the biggest problems with excuses is that they shift attention away from what you can control. Instead of focusing on the next step, the mind focuses on reasons not to move. Instead of using energy to build momentum, energy is used to defend inaction. This keeps people mentally busy but physically still. Thinking about why change is difficult is not the same as creating change. This does not mean life is easy or that obstacles are not real. Challenges exist, and some seasons of life are genuinely hard. But even in difficult times, there is often still a choice available, to move in some direction, however small. Progress does not always begin with perfect conditions. It often begins with a decision to use what is available now instead of waiting for everything to feel ideal. The moment you replace excuses with action, your limits begin to weaken. Action creates movement. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. Once you begin, even in a small way, the mind starts to change. You stop seeing yourself as someone who only thinks about growth and start seeing yourself as someone who practices it. That shift is powerful because identity follows repeated behavior. Action also builds confidence in a way excuses never can. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself, stay consistent, and prove through behavior that you are capable of change. It does not come from waiting. It comes from doing. Each step forward becomes evidence that you are stronger than the habits that once held you back. Ask yourself honestly what has been slowing your progress. Become aware of the patterns that keep you still. Awareness gives you the chance to choose differently. Replace the habit of explaining with the habit of acting, and your life can begin to move in a new direction. Part 4. Discipline defeats limitation. If you only act when you feel motivated, progress will always be unstable. Motivation is emotional, and emotions naturally change. Some days you feel excited, inspired, and ready to work. Other days you may feel tired, distracted, doubtful, or mentally low. If your actions depend only on how you feel in the moment, your effort will rise and fall constantly. This creates inconsistency, and inconsistency makes growth slow. You may start many things, but struggle to finish them. Many people wait to feel ready before taking action. They believe the right mood will appear and make everything easier. But the truth is that action often creates motivation, not the other way around. Once you begin, energy increases, focus improves, and momentum starts to build. The hardest part is often starting, not continuing. If you wait for perfect feelings, you may wait far too long. Discipline is different. Discipline means doing what matters even when you do not feel like it. It means acting based on values, goals, and commitments instead of temporary emotions. You do the work because it is important, not because it feels easy. You continue because the result matters, not because the mood is perfect. This is what makes discipline so powerful. It gives you a system stronger than emotion. Discipline turns ordinary days into progress because small actions repeated daily create results over time. Even when nothing feels exciting, even when the day feels average, showing up still moves you forward. A single effort may seem small, but repeated consistently it becomes meaningful. Progress is often built in quiet moments when no one is watching and nothing feels dramatic. Discipline also turns hard days into growth. Difficult days test your character. When you act despite discomfort, stress, boredom, or low energy, you build mental strength. You prove to yourself that you are not controlled by every feeling that appears. You learn that discomfort does not have to stop you. This creates confidence because you begin to trust your ability to keep going under pressure. The more disciplined you become, the fewer excuses control your life. You stop negotiating with yourself every day. You waste less time deciding whether to act because action becomes your standard. You rely less on motivation and more on habits. This creates freedom because your progress no longer depends on mood. It depends on commitment. The more disciplined you become, the fewer limits control your future. Fear loses power. Delay loses power. Doubt loses power. Why? Because consistent action keeps moving you forward while those things try to hold you back. Discipline does not remove every obstacle, but it makes you stronger than many of the obstacles that once stopped you. You do not need perfect discipline from the beginning. Start small. Keep one promise to yourself each day. Complete one important task. Show up even when you do not feel like it. With repetition, discipline grows stronger, and so do you. Part 5. Comfort can become a cage. Comfort feels good, and there is nothing wrong with rest, peace, or enjoying stability. Every person needs moments of recovery. Every person needs calm seasons in life. The problem begins when comfort becomes your default way of living and the main thing you protect at all costs. When you always choose what feels easy, familiar, and risk-free, growth starts to slow down. You may feel safe, but safety alone does not create progress. A life built only around comfort can quietly become a life without development, challenge, or discovery. Comfort becomes dangerous because it rarely looks harmful in the moment. It does not arrive as an obvious problem. It often feels normal to delay effort, avoid challenge, and stay with what you already know. There is no immediate pain in choosing the easier path, which is why it can become a habit so easily. That is why many people remain there for years without noticing the cost. But while comfort feels good today, it can create frustration later when you realize nothing has changed. The cost of comfort is often hidden until time has passed and opportunities are gone. When you always choose what is easy, you avoid the very experiences that make you stronger. Strength is built when you face resistance. Confidence is built when you do what once scared you. Discipline is built when you act without waiting for perfect feelings. Wisdom is built when you learn through challenge and responsibility. Patience is built when progress takes time. Resilience is built when life becomes difficult and you continue anyway. Many of the qualities people admire are developed through difficulty, not convenience. Growth often lives inside uncomfortable moments because discomfort forces expansion. New challenges require new skills. Hard work builds endurance. Difficult conversations build maturity. Taking responsibility builds character. Starting as a beginner builds humility and patience. Facing uncertainty builds courage. Learning from mistakes builds wisdom. These moments may feel uncomfortable at first, but they often contain the lessons and progress that comfort cannot provide. What feels difficult today can become the reason you become stronger tomorrow. This does not mean you must suffer constantly or reject all comfort. Rest is important. Recovery is necessary. Peace has value. The goal is balance. Comfort should be a place to recover, not a place to hide. It should help you recharge so you can continue growing, not become the reason you stop growing. Healthy comfort gives you strength for the journey. Unhealthy comfort keeps you from the journey. Knowing the difference can change your life. Many people confuse comfort with happiness. But comfort and fulfillment are not always the same. Short-term ease can feel pleasant while creating long-term emptiness. Fulfillment often comes from progress, purpose, contribution, learning, and becoming more than you once were. It comes from knowing you challenged yourself, improved yourself, and moved closer to your potential. Those things usually require effort, courage, and persistence. If you stay where everything feels safe, you may also stay where nothing changes. The same habits create the same results. The same choices create the same future. The same mindset creates the same limits. But when you are willing to step beyond what feels comfortable, new possibilities begin to open. You discover abilities you did not know you had. You build confidence through action. You gain experience that changes the way you see yourself. You become stronger than the version of you that only wanted ease. A better life is often waiting on the other side of temporary discomfort. The opportunity you want, the confidence you seek, the discipline you admire, and the growth you need may all require you to leave what feels familiar. Choose growth when comfort is holding you still, and you begin to break the cage you once thought was safety. Part 6. Your habits create your ceiling. Your habits shape your future more than occasional big efforts ever will. Many people focus on motivation, goals, or one strong moment of action, but real life is usually built through what you do repeatedly. Daily behavior becomes your standard, and your standard often determines the level of life you experience. This is why your habits can create either growth or limitation. Small repeated actions may seem unimportant in one single day, but over time they become powerful. A habit repeated again and again does not stay small. It grows into results, identity, and lifestyle. What you do consistently trains your mind, shapes your character, and influences your future direction. The actions you repeat quietly become the person you become. If your habits are built on distraction, delay, and inconsistency, your results will reflect that. When attention is always scattered, progress becomes slower. When tasks are constantly delayed, opportunities are missed. When effort happens only sometimes, growth remains unstable. This kind of pattern creates frustration because people want better results while repeating behaviors that cannot produce them. But if your habits are built on focus, learning, and discipline, your future begins to change. Focus helps you use your energy on what matters. Learning helps you improve your skills and thinking. Discipline helps you continue even when motivation is low. These habits may feel simple in the moment, but repeated over time they raise your standards and expand what is possible for your life. Your ceiling is often created by what you do every day because repeated habits either develop your potential or restrict it. If you practice weak patterns daily, they become limits. If you practice strong patterns daily, they become strengths. The level you reach in life is often connected to the level of habits you maintain consistently. The powerful truth is that ceilings can be raised. They are not always permanent. When you change your habits, you begin to change your results. When you change your routines, you begin to change your identity. Better habits create better standards, and better standards create a better future. You do not need to change everything at once. Start with one habit that moves your life forward. Repeat it until it becomes part of who you are. Then build from there. Step by step, the limits that once felt normal begin to disappear. Part 7. Responsibility gives you power. Blaming everything outside of you may feel easier in the moment, but it comes with a hidden cost that builds up over time. When a person constantly places responsibility on other people, past experiences, bad luck, or circumstances, it can create a temporary sense of relief because nothing feels like it is their fault. However, that relief slowly turns into limitation because it removes personal control from the equation. If every problem is caused by something outside of you, then every solution also seems to depend on something outside of you, and that is where growth stops. Life begins to feel like something that happens to you instead of something you can influence, and this mindset quietly weakens your ability to take action and move forward. When this pattern continues, your future can start to feel controlled by external forces. Your mood becomes dependent on situations and people you cannot control. Your progress feels tied to conditions that may never be perfect. Your decisions start to shrink because your mind is focused more on what is wrong than what can be improved. Over time, this creates a quiet form of helplessness, not because you truly lack power, but because you are not using the power you already have. Even when opportunities appear, they can be missed simply because attention is directed toward blame instead of solution, reflection, or action. Responsibility changes everything because it brings control back to you. It does not erase problems, and it does not make life instantly easy. But it changes your position in life from passive to active. Instead of asking who is at fault, you begin asking what can be done next. That small shift in thinking is powerful because it moves your mind away from resistance and into movement. You stop wasting energy on what cannot be changed and start focusing on what is still within your control. This is where real progress begins, because action only exists where responsibility is accepted. Taking responsibility is not about self-blame or punishment. It does not mean pretending everything is your fault or ignoring real difficulties that exist outside your control. Life is complex, and many situations are shaped by factors beyond any single person. But responsibility focuses on response, not origin. It is the mindset of asking, given what is happening right now, what is my next best step? This question removes emotional noise and brings attention back to action. It helps you move forward even when conditions are not perfect, because it keeps your focus on influence instead of limitation. As this mindset develops, confidence naturally begins to grow. Confidence is not something that appears before action, it is something that is built through action. Every time you take responsibility and respond to a situation instead of avoiding it, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling life. Each small improvement, each problem solved, and each decision made with awareness strengthens your belief in yourself. Slowly, you stop identifying as someone who is stuck and start seeing yourself as someone who can adapt, improve, and take control of direction. Responsibility also builds resilience, which is the ability to stay steady during difficult times. Life will always include setbacks, delays, disappointments, and unexpected changes. No one is exempt from that. But when responsibility is your mindset, these moments do not break you as easily. Instead of collapsing into frustration or blame, you begin to look for what can still be done. You shift from, "Why is this happening?" to, "What can I learn and do next?" This change creates inner strength because it keeps you engaged with solutions even in difficult situations. In the end, the moment you fully accept responsibility for your response to life, something important changes inside you. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop relying on external rescue. You stop giving your power away to things you cannot control. Instead, you begin building your life through decisions, actions, and consistency. This is where real power begins, because it is the point where your future is no longer defined by circumstances, but shaped by your response to them. Part 8. Become the person who can win. Sometimes the goal is not the first thing that must change. Many people spend all their energy focusing on outcomes they want: success, money, confidence, opportunities, without realizing that the real foundation of those outcomes is the person they are becoming. If the inner version of you stays the same, the results often stay the same too. This is why real transformation is not only about chasing goals, but about building the identity required to reach them. You cannot consistently live a life that your habits, mindset, and discipline are not prepared for. The success you want may require a stronger version of you, not just a more motivated version. Motivation can help you start, but it cannot carry you through long-term growth. What you need is a shift in identity, becoming someone who naturally thinks, acts, and responds in a way that matches the life you want. Instead of asking only, "How do I achieve this goal?" the deeper question becomes, "What kind of person would achieve this goal, and how do I become that person?" That shift changes everything because it moves focus from results to personal development. Become more disciplined, not just occasionally, but as a standard way of living. Become more focused by learning to protect your attention from constant distraction and noise. Become more patient by accepting that real progress takes time and that meaningful change is rarely instant. Become more courageous by choosing action even when uncertainty is present. These are not personality traits you are simply born with, they are skills built through repetition, effort, and conscious decisions over time. As you start building these qualities, something important begins to happen: your limits start to lose power. Many of the barriers that once felt real begin to disappear because they were never permanent walls, they were reflections of your current level of thinking and behavior. When your habits improve, your results improve. When your mindset strengthens, your actions change. And when your actions change consistently, your identity changes with them. This is why becoming the right person matters more than forcing results too early. If you try to hold success without becoming the person who can sustain it, it often becomes unstable or short-lived. But when you grow into the person who can handle discipline, pressure, responsibility, and consistency, success becomes more natural. It stops feeling like something you are chasing and starts feeling like something you are capable of maintaining. In the end, winning in life is not just about reaching a destination. It is about becoming someone who can continuously move forward, adapt, and grow no matter what challenges appear. When you change who you are, what you can achieve also changes. You were never meant to stay stuck in the same version of yourself forever. Everything you have learned in this video points to one simple truth: change begins inside you. Your thoughts, your habits, your discipline, your excuses, your fears, and your choices all play a role in shaping the life you are living right now. But none of these things are fixed. They can be changed, improved, and rebuilt with time and effort. At the end of the day, your only limit is not the world around you, but the version of you that you are willing to outgrow. And the moment you decide to grow beyond it, everything begins to change. And if this video helped you, like it, subscribe, and stay connected for more content on mindset, discipline, and personal growth.